Hey you guys, it's me. Happy Wednesday. Happy for a couple of reasons. I haven't been able to go live on here for a few weeks actually, or a couple of weeks. Today's the first day it actually enabled me to do live video, so I'm excited about that. But wanted to talk to you guys about sort of winding down the month and preparing for the following month. If you don't do this, one sort of blends into the other, and we don't learn as much as we should, and we're not as intentional as we should. I always like to, a few days before the end of the month, really sit down and write a list out of what I've learned, how I'm thinking differently, and what I'm doing differently. Gosh, I hope this video is working. It's saying something's going on. But anyway, I hope this is getting through to you guys. It is very, very important to actually close out a month, reflect back on it, think about what you've learned, what you're, how you're thinking differently, what you've learned from even mistakes you've made, even missteps. What have you learned from those? And then what are you actually doing that's different? We know that sobriety requires pursuit, and it's so important to say, how am I currently pursuing a life of freedom and sobriety with food? If you don't do that, again, it gets a little bit messy and you move into the next month and nothing really changes. So once you reflect and think about what went well, what commitments did you stick to, what behaviors did you put in place that are serving you well, even if you didn't get it every day of the month, but you've really started to put something into place. I know several of you have really latched on to this idea of that daily surrender, coming in and talking in the group, speaking up, put in your intentions for the day. It really does work. Some of you who had struggled with sobriety the last couple months, this is the month that you have gotten sober and stayed sober, and I am so excited about that. I'm thinking of several people, but I think it's important, again, for you to reflect, where are you? And then, I always ask this question. Some people struggle with it, but it's important, and you're the only one that can answer it. If you are still struggling, you have to ask yourself this question and be completely honest. What's getting in my way? When I think about all the things that I intended to do this month, if I go through the list, I can really sort of check off most of them as yes, I did that thing. One of the things that I intended to do but did not do was I wanted to start getting up. I already get up early, but I wanted to start getting up earlier every day. I had it in my mind to do that. And I didn't really do a good job of that. I did some days, but not really. It certainly hasn't become a habit. And so I had to ask the question, what's been getting in my way? And one of the things that's been getting in my way is at night when, I have a cutoff time that I have to be in bed by, I'll compromise on that a little bit. I'll let it slide. It'll go 15, 20 minutes longer. And anyway, I just wind up sort of staying up a little bit too late. Other times I've had my phone in my room and I haven't been I haven't been real faithful in just turning the thing off or getting it out of the room, and therefore, if I was having trouble sleeping, I would pick it up and I would scroll through, and then I get wrapped up in something, and then interrupted sleep became worse. So for me, one of the things that's gotten in my way is not being 100% totally committed to getting up at a certain time every day. I certainly didn't state it here in the group that I intended to do it, but I am going to for May, because that will help me be accountable. And then I'm also going to look at the things that really kept me from doing it. One, lack of a clear intention about a specific time, and then lack of boundaries or sticking to boundaries that I had set up about bedtime and phone and things like that. And so for me, even though there are many things, I did exactly what I said I was going to do for the month of April, and I consider it very successful, there's opportunity for May. The other things I will do for May is I will set up, for me, I have I always do an extended fast once a month, so I'll decide when that is. And then I'll also decide what I want to do about food. One of the things I did in the month of April is I gave up, or I decided to experiment on how I would feel if I didn't drink any. You guys are going to cringe at this. Any bubblies or LaCroix or any kind of fizzy drinks, if I only drank pure water, I wanted to see if I would feel better. And I have to say there is somewhat of a difference. I think my skin looks better. Any of those bubbly drinks, they do affect your digestion. They can make you kind of burpy, or they can cause gut issues. And the problem that I had with them was I was drinking so many of them. I realized I was rarely ever drinking real water. It's not that there's something really wrong with them. It's just that nothing replaces pure water. So I also understood in having to give them up or choosing to give them up, they had more of a hold on me than I thought they did, because there were moments I really started waffling. Like I really, really, really wanted LaCroix. And in fact, there was one point I opened the refrigerator and I said out loud in front of Clara, like, oh man, I really want a LaCroix. I think I'm going to have one. And she said, Mom, don't do it. And I said, why? And she said, because you said you weren't going to. And I found that to be really, really powerful, because one of the things that's really important to me is my integrity. So, and especially my integrity with my child, but my integrity in general. So that just woke me up, and I never had another moment where I waffled like that and thought about it again, because again, it just reminded me I am a woman of integrity, and I said I wasn't going to do it, and that's reason enough, because I do the things I say I'm going to do, and I don't do the things I say I'm not going to do. So anyway, but I realized they had more of a hold on me than I wanted. Another thing I'd said I wasn't going to do during this last month is eat pork rinds, and I didn't do that, and that was tempting. I think I'm going to leave them gone for the month of May. They really don't serve me well. Again, there's nothing inherently wrong with them, but I tend to overeat them, and they're really not a good source of nutrition at all. They're sort of just kind of wasted calories and energy. So anyway, little stuff. I'm not saying all that to get into the details so much as to say it's so important that you close out one month and you make plans for the next month. If you don't do that, things get just really kind of wishy-washy, and you're not focused. So I would love to hear from each one of you a few things. One, what did you learn about yourself this month? What went well? What commitments did you stick to? How are you thinking differently? Two, how will you use all that and make a plan for May, and what sort of just rough sort of things can you say, I know I'm going to work on in May? For me, the sleep and getting up early is a huge priority for the month of May, as well as my fasting schedule and some other things with activity. And then finally, asking yourself that question, what got in my way, or what is getting in my way of doing the things that I know that I want and need to do? And again, that's a question only you can answer. You have to be very, very, very honest with yourself. And, sometimes the answer to that is, I haven't wanted it bad enough. And if you keep saying a certain thing's your goal, and the answer is always like, well, I don't want it bad enough, then don't make that thing your goal. You have to want it. Nobody else can want it more than you. Clients I have that are successful, they want it more than I want it for them. And believe me, I want it for them. But when people are really successful, it's because they really, really want to change. And you can want to change because your life is, or the situation is so bad the way it is, you can't bear for it to stay that way. Or you can want to change because you are incredibly inspired by other people that you see changing, and you believe it can happen. Either way, it's a leap of faith, but you have to want it. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to hearing from you guys. I'd love, you can make a video. Sarah was so kind again to make another video. I love that when you guys inspire each other. You're free to do that anytime. You can go live, or you can make a video and post it. I think that's the most wonderful stuff. But let's really wind down this month, share what you've learned, talk about what you're thinking about or what your ideas are for May, I also wanted to mention for the month of May, we're going to have about 5 new people in the group, which is cool. But that'll make me structure things a little bit differently because the last couple of months we've only had maybe 1, 2 new people, and it's been a lot of repetition. And while some of you guys have already signed back up for the May group, and I know others of you will, when I have new people, it makes me think and it makes me structure things differently. So I think you'll see some different things. Also wanted to remind you, we have already had our 4 calls for the month. This Saturday we won't have a call. It's an off week. Use that time to go back and watch the 4 or 5 calls that are still here from the whole month. Go back and watch the whole thing. It's a perfect way to close out your month and get ready for the new one. And then I'll post the dates for our May calls. I think all but one will be on a Saturday. I have a conflict one week, but otherwise it'll be the same as always. But looking forward to having some new folks in the group, a little bit of different structure. Looking forward to having many more of you back. Some of you, like I said, have already signed up to come back in, and it's going to be a great month. But it will be a great month if we take what we learned from this month, bring it forward into the coming month, and continue the things that are working and tweak those things that aren't. And as always, I'm here to help. I care about you. I want to see you free. Remember, the goal is freedom. And I'm here to help you get there. And you guys are doing such a great job of helping each other, and that just makes me so, so happy to see your interactions and how much you care for each other. So have a wonderful day. By the way, sorry I'm a little sweaty looking. My air conditioner has been out since Sunday, and someone was supposed to come fix it yesterday, and then there was a crazy storm that happened right when he was coming, and he couldn't come because obviously he's dealing with electricity outside. So now it won't be till tomorrow. So I have been hot and sticky. Thankfully the storm lowered the temperature, so it's not quite as bad today. But you know what, even in the midst of that, I can just have so much to be grateful for. It's a small thing in the scheme of things. But anyway, looking forward to hearing from y'all about what your plans are, what your thoughts are, and wish everybody a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Talk to you soon.